Filming and lighting yourself can be absolutely hell and discourage you from even taking it serious. A few months ago, I released a video about this. I actually covered a lot in that video. You should definitely check it out after you watch this one. But I want to get specific on some typical scenarios you might find yourself in for lighting and some not so typical ones. If you're struggling to light yourself and have it actually look good, I'm going to go through all of that in this video today. From the light to the intensity down to the reasoning. Let's get it. To keep this as simple as possible, in this video, I'm only gonna be using one light. The more lights you start adding, the more complicated it's gonna get, especially when you're filming yourself. Now, just like my last lighting video, it's important to note that these tips will help you regardless of what light you use. Just get what you can afford. I'll link some really great aperture options down in the description below. But the great thing about using a light that is extremely powerful is that you're rarely in a situation where you need more light. And I find that that's a better place to be than to be in a position where you don't have enough. This is the Aperture 600C Pro Mark II. And this is literally one of the best lights you can buy right now. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful light right there. This one right here is the one. This one got a ton of specs. I done wrote down some stuff because I'm not gonna remember this. This is a 600 watt full color point source Bowens mount LED fixture. It has a 720 watt maximum power draw. The daylight output on this light is comparable to a 1200 watt HMI, which is crazy. And this light supports 2300 Kelvin all the way up to 10,000 Kelvin. All of this stuff basically means that this light can do anything. If you need more output than this, you're probably filming a movie. Let's start this out with a typical talking head setup, and then we'll get more advanced the further we get into the video. Okay, so this is setup one right here. And man, the quality of light in this setup is just phenomenal. When I tell you that this is how I would like all of my YouTube videos to look lighting wise, this is it. I have the 600C Pro Mark II bouncing off of a white card, and the output, the softness, the wideness of the light source, it just looks amazing to me. So why did I bounce the light? I could have just thrown a softbox on here or a light dome because this is a Bowens mount light and it still would have looked good. That's absolutely true. The thing about using a softbox though is that determines the size of the light source. And most of the time, that's fine. Sometimes you're in a small room, light dome has it nice and soft. It looks good, don't get me wrong. When you bounce light though, that then becomes the size of the light source. So the fact that I have this extremely big white card right here, when I bounce the light off of it, my light source now becomes the size of this white card. And a bigger light source the majority of the time is gonna make it feel softer. Another thing that you're gonna get when you do bounce light is that you're gonna lose a lot of output. And the fact that this has an extremely bright amount of output, I'm able to compensate inside of the light for the light that I'm gonna lose by bouncing. And when it comes to the intensity of the lighting that I'm using right now, I pretty much got this light maxed out. This is what this scene would look like without it at all. Like, you can see that this is extremely dark. So this is providing not only a great amount of light on me, but just the scene in general. Obviously, this light is full RGB, and the fact that I can use the Cytoslink app to adjust all of these things on my phone is huge when I'm filming myself, because I don't wanna have to get up, go to the light, make the adjustment, go to the camera, see if the adjustment works, then go back and fix it and do all that stuff. I can adjust everything from the palm of my hand to the CCT value, down to the color that I'm using, down to the effects. Like, I can basically adjust every single thing that I need from the palm of my hand. And when you're filming yourself, this is huge. I basically wouldn't even be able to do this. It would take me like 3 times the amount of time if I didn't have the adjustments right here on my phone. So this is a simple setup, a janky one at that. I didn't even block out the windows behind the camera. So we still got light bleeding and we don't have flags. I obviously have the entire set showing, but you can see that this simple setup actually does look really good for what it is. When it comes to light placement, the reason why I have the light off to the side and not straight on like the camera is because I want some depth. You can see on this side of my face it's pretty shadowed, and you need shadow to add definition. It's also gonna make your shot a little bit more moodier. So if you're gonna be creating lighter setups like this, something simple, even a talking head, you definitely wanna light it up to the side and give yourself some brand lighting. All right, now let's hop into something a little bit more advanced. Man, the thing that I love about using powerful lights is that you can use them outside of houses or locations and still get a really strong, consistent beam of light that emulates the sun. The great thing about having your light source outside of your location is that it makes your scene a lot easier to block. You can walk around freely without having to see a light or a light stand in an angle. Man, I am so glad Aperture put her wheels inside of the bag for this light, bro, because this joint is so heavy. So I got this small window right here on the side of my house that will never ever get direct sunlight. What I'm looking to do is boost this up, shine us through that window, and we should get some really cool beams of light inside of my kitchen. My house also looks gross on this side. I need to power wash this ASAP. All right, so this is what it looks like. It's kind of vibey. I kind of like it, but it's kind of flat. I wish I had another light in this scene, but honestly, I don't mind this at all. I think if I was telling a story about a sunrise, this would do the job perfectly fine. Don't mind my son, he's like over there playing a game. But look, if I switch this angle, you can see exactly where the light is coming from. It's coming from this window over here. One thing that I think will add to the scene dramatically is if I add some haze in the room. So I'm gonna try that right now and see what type of atmosphere we can get with this beam of light coming through the window. What are you doing? Yo, having kids is crazy. This is the film Mog Ace by Ulanzi. I actually featured this in a budget filmmaking video on the channel. I'll make sure to link it up above and in the description below if you guys wanna check it out. But this right here is a portable fog machine that should give us some ambience in the room. I think I added too much. So this is what a direct angle of the scene looks like. I actually don't mind it. I think it looks cool. I think it looks moody even without a fill on this side. And I think that it fits the vibe pretty well. Now this scene right here looks dope. I think that it replicates the look of like a sunset or a sunrise. Really cool thing about this light obviously is that you can change the color and the temperature of this light to anything that you want. I got it connected to my phone right now via Bluetooth, and I can literally shift all the way to 10,000 Kelvin and it will change the complete mood of this scene that fast. We can go from something that looks really cool to something that looks really warm, and we can even change this to color as well. If we want to go for like something spooky, we can go for red, we can go for pink, purple, and this is all from my fingertips, which is pretty dope. And I talked about this a little bit while I was outside, but the thing that I absolutely love about doing setups like this where the light is outside of the house is that you don't have any blocking issues. I can walk all the way through the frame. I don't have to worry about a light being in the scene. I can go over here, do this. If I want to shoot a shot of me washing my hands, I'll have great lighting right here at the sink. If I want to get a shot of me over here, you know, cooking, I probably have to turn on one of these lights, but you get what I'm saying. You have the freedom to really roam and do whatever you want. And this is one of the biggest reasons why I love doing lighting setups where the light is outside of the house. Now with a setup like this, intensity wise, you really gotta go off a feeling. I have this light outside of the window extremely hot, and not that I had to do that, but the fact that I'm trying to replicate the look of a sun coming through here, I didn't put any modifier on it. I could have put a softbox on here and made this light extremely soft, but it wouldn't have felt like sun was coming through the window. So this is a look at what this scene would look like without this light coming through. The change is literally drastic. That's no light in here. I have no ambience going on in here other than the lamp over there in the corner. You can see it's almost nighttime, but this light right here, it just turns it into daytime, you know? Sunrise vibes. We about to make some breakfast. I think that the setup looks dope, but y'all let me know down in the comment section. Let's move on to the next one. For this next setup, we're gonna go with a good old car scene. I really hope y'all can hear me because I shot something at this location once before, and the traffic was a huge issue, but I hope that's not the case here, the fact that I got a loud mic on. But if the audio is terrible, please excuse me. I'll do what I can to salvage it, and I'll even add subtitles to the bottom, and if I got to, I'll talk over this after the fact. One thing I specifically want to do different with this setup is utilize this thing right here. Take this out of here before I put this on. I'm tripping. There we go. Now we'll talk about the specific use case for this in a second, but all you really need to know is that this is gonna help us get the light extremely specific to where we want it in this scene. I think with this lighting setup that I'm about to do though, I'm gonna try to replicate the look of this lighting setup right here, but make it more dramatic. Looking at it right now through the camera, it probably doesn't look that bad, but I'm at 12,800 ISO, and it's a bunch of bleed and a bunch of stuff happening. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the 600C Pro Mark II, and I'm gonna try to replicate this light right here, motivated from the exact same side of the scene, and then I'll be able to bump that ISO down, get a cleaner look, get something that looks more contrasty and something that is actually more cinematic. Let's do it. the process. I'm also still playing around with this white balance. I don't know if this is where I want it to be or if this is where it should be. This is all trial and error. I know that I do want this very warm tone. I'm into warm tones. I think warm tones look very cinematic and like, especially in films when they're pushed. So I think that's what I'm gonna go for with this particular setup. But all in all, I'm gonna just raise this high, shine it down with the spotlight mount and diffuse the light out, and then I'll be able to film from this side to get some really cool looks. Let's do it. So with the power lighting, I was able to get down from 12,800 ISO all the way down to 1,600 ISO. And another really crazy thing about this scene is that this light is so powerful that I was able to get this wide of a frame and still have the light outside of it. All right, so this is a closer frame so you can see what's happening. And I did not cheat the scene like what you would typically do in cinematography, where you would shoot the wide with the light outside of the scene and then bringing it on the close. Like, nah, this is actually just the street light right there out of frame that's giving us that little bit of flaring right there. But I want to turn the light on and off so you can see what's going on. This is without the light. This is with it. Like, you can see that this is actually insane. It's giving us such great rim lighting. It's helping me bounce off the background, and it's still giving us that cinematic ambience. I've been having a lot of fun in this video with using harsh lighting instead of putting a modifier on it that's gonna soften it. But I think that this still looks really, really good. This really goes back to the one-liner that you always hear in cinematography: light spaces, not faces. The really cool thing about this light being so powerful and as far as it is outside of the scene is I can film so many different looks without even moving this light, and I'm gonna show you that right now. This is another grand frame that I'm able to get with the exact same lighting. Nothing changed. We can obviously rock this to a medium shot if we wanted to. Another angle I'm able to rock is the in-car shot. Again, I did not change the lighting at all. I can bring y'all into the car, get intimate with the car scene, same lighting. We can even rock the specialty off the rear view mirror shot. Lighting hasn't changed one bit. That's the benefit of lighting spaces, not faces. Something I'd never understood until now. I think my light just actually died. This light right here, this street light, this parking lot light, actually is the reason why our light is coming from this exact same place. Without this light in this parking lot, we would have no sense of direction of where our light should be coming from. We wanted to feel motivated. We wanted to feel like this ambient scene is being lit only by the lights that are available to us. Motivated lighting always makes the scene feel cohesive, and it makes it feel realistic. The fact that I had this light over here off camera from the exact same angle as the street light, it made it feel real. Now when it comes to intensity of the light, you really just gotta eyeball it, man. For me, I just went with something that I thought looked good through camera. It might look hot, it might look sourcey, but at the end of the day, it still looks realistic because it's coming from this exact same location as this light back here. But ultimately, you really just gotta play around with it. See what looks good to you, see how much you can bring back in post. All of these things are stuff that you just gonna have to test and play around with. You're never gonna get it perfectly right every single time. All right, so this is where the car is in the scene. This is the street light, and all the way over here, like literally, I'm like strides, bro. This light is extra far away. This is where the 600C Pro Mark II is, and got it shining down on the car. You can see right there what's actually happening. I'm gonna turn the light off so you can see. Off, on. Real directional. I love the fact that this spotlight mount allows me to point this light wherever I need it to go. And yeah, that's the lighting setup. I want to let y'all know that these lighting videos take extremely long to do. I know that it might seem like I do these extremely fast, I'm a professional, I know what I'm doing every single time, but I'm doing a lot of recomping behind the scenes. I'm adjusting the light, I'm adjusting the light temperature, I'm adjusting the intensity, I'm adjusting the angle of the camera. It's a lot. So this is just a word of advice to y'all. When you're lighting yourself, give yourself time to experiment, give yourself time to fail. I know that every time you set up a light, it's not gonna look good, but with practice, you will be able to get there. Down in the description below will be a link to the 600C Pro Mark II. Extremely great light. I know that it is pricey, but this light is actually meant for production, so I'm just lighting myself with it right now. But if you don't want to spend that much money on a light, it'll be other links to other Aperture lights that are actually really reliable as well that I've tried in the past, and some of their new stuff also that might be more suited for people who are trying to light themselves. But regardless, incredible light. You guys see what it can do. I'm not even touching the surface of what this light can do. I'm just chilling right now, filming myself. But at the end of the day, I hope y'all got something from this video, man. Drop it a like because it took me so long to do, and let me know if it helped you at all. All right, with that being said, I'm out. Peace.